What's good, YouTube? Daza here. Welcome, guys, to another awesome video here on the channel. Today, we're going to go ahead and dive into what I think the meta is going to start looking like for the upcoming format for the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. Based off this new ban list that we got yesterday, I recently reviewed the list myself, and man, am I excited for this list. I pretty much like over half of these decks that I put on this list of like top 10 decks that are going to be good to play, I want to actually personally test and play myself, because some of these decks are some of my favorite decks of all time, or like in most recent years. So like I'm really excited to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive again, because I think this new format's going to be really cool, and I really like the links and stuff. I think it's really cool. So it's going to be a really great fresh start to a new era of cards. And it's great we can bring some of these cool old types back into it, and also some of these cooler old deck, like, you know, Burning Abyss. Like, it'd be really cool once that deck comes out with a link. I think that'd be pretty neat. It could probably find its way on this list. But going into this list, at number 10, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Blue Eyes deck. I think the Blue Eyes deck is still a very strong deck choice to play. It can still easily make some disgusting boards. It still has all of its support. It still has ridiculous, just crazy combos, massive monsters, protection cards, just really good stuff. It's got one of the best extra decks at its disposal, and it's really good. And I think it's a really great deck to play, and I'm going to test this a lot because I want to play Blue Eyes a lot. I think it's a very good deck. You can take the locals, win regionals, top regionals. I don't think you could pilot it through an entire weekend out of YCS and win. Maybe you can squeak away through the top, but I don't think you can win with the Blue Eyes. It's just not consistent enough, because Link is not as like good with this deck, in my honest opinion. But the deck is still very powerful, and it comes in at number 10 on my list because I think it's really good. All right. At number 9, I think we're going to go ahead and have to go with the Cosmo deck. The Cosmos are insane. They always have been insane. It's such a great deck. It's never bad, just because of what it does. Like, the deck is just so good at resourcing itself and floating up and down in levels and making these nasty untargetable ships from hell, like Cosmo Dark Destroyer, Eclipser, doing ridiculous interactions, turboing stuff out. Cosmo Town is nuts. Wow, what a great card. It unbricks your hand. But that's why this deck, though, speaking of bricks, is at number 9 on my list, because it has a really big chance of bricking. And if you can't find your search card, if you can't find the Tin Can, if you can't find Cosmo Town, or lures into stuff, or like Strawman into Dark Destroyer, it's like not really strong. But this deck, when it does go off and get its rotations, it's nuts. And I think this deck is easily tournament ready to top regionals, win regionals, top YCSs for sure, because this deck is nuts. And the combination of this deck with the trap card Full Force Virus is insane. Full Force Virus is a really strong trap. Lets you tribute a dark monster with 2,000 or more defense, and you have to destroy all the monsters your opponent controls are in the hand, and for the next 3 turns, I believe. 2 or 3 turns. Pretty sure it's 3 turns, just like the other crush card stuff. But yeah, and you destroy them. It's nuts. And that description of 1,500 less defense, that hits like pretty much every single deck engine for every single deck. So Cosmos is a really good choice. I'm going to personally play a lot of this in the coming weeks. And if I do go to Dallas, I actually might play this deck if it turns out to be a very good testing choice against like Spirals. Let's continue on. Number 8 on my list is the Mermails. I think Mermails are still a very powerful deck. The ban list didn't really benefit, or they didn't benefit from the ban list, and they didn't minus from the ban list. I think the deck is still very strong. Yeah, we didn't get Tribe. They did get a second Brionac, which is not really a big relevance. But the deck is still very powerful. Plus, when Circuit Break comes out, we got this cute little Me-Star boy coming up. A really easy to summon 2 monster link. Just takes 2 water monsters. Gives all of your water monsters 500 attack and defense while it's face up on the field. If this card is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you get to add 1 water monster from your graveyard to your hand. That's insane. You can recycle your Dragoons. You can recycle Infantry. You can recycle Megalo, Tias, whatever. Really nuts. And it's got 2 pointing down diagonal links and no links to your opponent. Really good setup going first. And the deck can crap out monsters easily for this to work out. So I still think this deck is... I think the the Mermails is a really powerful deck because it just has really insane OTK combos. Don't even have to use the extra deck all the time. But with this new Link monster, it's just like really great access to get to the Palmet Shark into the Tree Toad. So I think really, really, really good deck choice right here. Might not be winnable, a YCS winnable deck, but I think you can top events with this deck for sure. Going in at number 7 on my list is the Wind Witches, or just like Invoked Wind Witch in general. I think this deck is really powerful. Crystal Wing is still a ridiculously strong card, especially when he's like untargetable and undestroyable. He's really, really nuts. But I think this deck is really like cool and resourceful, but I think the problem that it does have is like not being able to link as consistently, so you can't really go for the Invoked and the Crystal Wing plays as much as you'd want to. So I think that's why this deck comes in at number 7 on my list. It's still a playable deck. It can still top events, but I don't think it's as consistent to consistently win or make the representation to win, because it's just not able to make the plays that it wants to make like it was before Lynx came out. Coming in at number 6 is the Minerva decks, just Lightsworn in general, Minerva Sworn, Twilight Sworn, Chaos, whatever. I think with Minerva being easily accessible by so many players, now that it's like a $5 card, and there's great buffs for this deck on the ban list. You have Honest to 3, Charge of the Light Brigade to 3, Barrow from a Different Dimension to 2. That's really, really good. And I mean, just the zombie engine is really powerful, and being able to, it's really easy to link with this deck. And even with one mowing the grass, I think this deck is still really, really powerful if you want to play a 60 card. Because left arm offering is still a thing. It's still at 3. And I don't know, there's a lot of ways to play this. BLS is at 2, so you can play chaos versions of this out the wazoo. And I think just there's great combos with Lightsworns. It's just a good deck. And I think it's really good at doing what it needs to do and winning. And I think it can win events, and I think it could top YCS no problem. I think this deck is very powerful. So, definitely earns the number 7 slot on my list. Coming in at number 6 is the Trickstars. I think the Trickstars are very, very good. And with the links at its disposal and the little burn effects that it can do, it's got really consistent searching. And it's got great extra deck stuff that we can make. It's got a really ridiculous trap card, Trickstar Reincarnation. I think it's a really, really good deck. And it can do a lot of really great plays. And I think this deck can really, really have a great representation in the next format. And it can come out on top, and it can top events for sure. I think this is a really, really good deck choice. I personally wouldn't play it myself because I don't care for the engine, but I respect the engine a lot. I think it's really, really good as a deck. And that's why it comes in on my list at number 6. Next up, we have the number 5 slot. I'm going to go with the World Chalices for this one. Coming in right in the middle, I think this deck is really, really strong. I think it can continue to win locals, continue to win regionals, top regionals. I think it can easily continue to top YCSs and maybe even win them if you really, really can make the plays work really, really well. But this deck is really, really good. I mean, it's got great link monsters. It's got ridiculous interactions with Firewall, and just like, I don't know, there's so much you can do with World Chalice, especially now that we have Rescue Rabbit back to 3. That just gives you so much more potential with the normal monsters. I think this deck is really, really good. A solid choice going into this next format, for sure. Gets number 5. Number 4 is going to be Pendulum, but more specifically the Pendulum Magicians, or the like Performa Pals stuff. I think this deck is really, really powerful, and the ban list just greatly benefits this deck in all arenas. Wisdom Eye still at 3, Pendulum Call still at 3, Skullcrobat Joker still at 3, Wavering Eyes is now at 3, and Luster Pendulum is now at 2 again, which is insane. You still have Draco Face Off as a card, so Ignister is going to be really powerful. Dinoster, I mean the whole Draco engine will be really, really good. But just the Magicians themselves are really strong because they have so much utility, so much resourcefulness, so much like searching. Terraforming still at 3, so you can get Sky Irises. There's the Odd Eyes engines you can play in with it. There's just so much going on with this deck. So much resource, so much searching. Wavering Eyes just really ups the consistency of the deck, and just like, especially like when Circuit Breaker comes out, there are 2 Link 2 monsters that you can play in this deck really easily. There's one, oh, I can't remember the names of them. I should have pulled up pictures of them. I'm gonna find them real quick on Google. Let's see. Link Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, one of them is this guy, Akashic Magician. She takes 2 monsters with the same name. Really easy to do in this deck, especially if you play the Draco engine. You put in like lusters or master pendulums or vectors, and you put in like the rescue rabbits, because rescue rabbits are 3. You can play Draco pals pretty well too. But even without that, like, you have multiple copies of Skullcrab Joker. There's a whole bunch. This card's really easy to make, and it's a 2-link with 1 link down, so you can open up an extra deck spot right away, which is really good. I really like this card. This is coming out in Circuit Breaker. The other one that's really usable, especially if you continue to play the Draco engine, is, where is he? Is it Twin Triangle Dragon? Yeah, this guy. He's another link 2 with a down and a right. And he just takes 2 level 4 lower dragon type monsters, which is Luster and Master Pendulum. So really easy to make if you play the Draco engine. So I think with these 2 links coming out, greatly benefits the Draco Pal engine. But the Draco, not the Draco, the Pendulum Magician engine is still nuts. And either way, I think the deck's gonna be great. I'm gonna be personally testing this deck a lot, and I'm gonna do the Pendulum Magicians, and I'm gonna play a lot of this Draco Pal stuff too. I have a lot of ideas with the Draco Pals, especially with these 2 new Link monsters coming out. So going into the number 3 on my list, ABCs. I think ABCs are still going to be really insane. Now that Zoo's out of the picture, this deck is like, just dust it off. Let's bring it back to the tables, because Buster's going to be broken. So easy to bring out massive boards. So easy to bring out Decode Talkers. This deck is going to be really insane. Plus Union Hanger. You guys still have 3 terraformings. So like, there's a lot of potential for this deck to just be nuts. It's still insane in Japan. They touched the crap out of this deck on the last ban list because it was so good still. So, this deck comes in at number 3. This deck is easily going to be winning events, easily going to be topping events for sure. I think this is going to be a great deck to take into this upcoming format and into Dallas. It's going to be a really good deck. Like, if you're not wanting to play Spirals, I think this is a great deck against Spirals for sure. This could have some great interactions against the Spirals. Coming in at number 2, for the time being, for sure, is going to be the True Kings. There's the True Dracos. I mean, they're still nuts. Like, they still have the insane utility, insane resourcefulness, ridiculous consistency with triple Masterpiece and triple Dragonic Diagram. Yeah, they lost Dynamite. Yeah, they have 1 Ignister and they have 1 True Draco Return, but the deck is still ridiculous. And you combination with the Invoked and Spellbook Magician, Spellbook Secret, stuff like that. Like, this deck is ridiculously strong, and it's going to continue to top and win all the events it's at. And it has great interactions with Spirals as well. So I think this deck is going to be like one of the best decks. It's going to be second best in my opinion coming into the new set. With number 1 best deck going to be Spirals, of course. With this guy right here, the Double Helix coming out, this deck's going to be ridiculous. Tier 0 material for sure. This is going to be the most highly represented deck, I think, in the in YCS Dallas, or just in the format in general, because the deck has nutty interactions, and this card is so broken. So look forward to this deck for sure being the best. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good format. I think coming into the new Link era, we're going to have a lot of really neat stuff coming through. A lot of great old decks are going to be able to be played, or there's decks that have great support off the ban list that are going to be really, really strong again. Like the Pendulum stuff, like, World Chalice still going to be good. Like, I think these decks are all going to be really, really powerful and really good representations, really good choices to play if you want to top events, win events. So yeah, guys, definitely, like, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think these decks are really, really good or relevant? Just let me know. I'm open to hearing what you guys think is going to be really, really good in this upcoming format with this new list. So definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe below. Definitely keep your eye out for more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh content. I'm really excited to be getting back into this game, and I'm going to start bringing some really cool deck profiles real soon. So I'm going to be making that Cosmos stuff. I'm going to be making that Draco Pal deck and Magician. So stay tuned, guys, for some awesome stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and take care, guys.